Welcome back. Another edition of stuff in David's collection. We're going to do something a little different this time around. We're going to show some stuff I bought at a toy show a few months ago that I haven't spotlighted yet, and then talk about how I missed out on buying something to further complete the set at the recent ZoloCon, and then going to do an unboxing of something I won from a heritage auction, live auction. So the things I bought at the Maryland Toy Expo back in, I don't even know what month at this point, maybe November, were 4 of the Micronauts aliens. For folks who aren't super familiar, these were towards the end of the Micronauts line by Mego in the late 70s. This is Antron. I had Antron and Repto here, which are 2 of the more common ones from this line when I was a child. I don't remember having them in my home. I think they might have been something that stayed at my grandparents' house and I would play with when I visited them. Because I remember playing with these, but don't remember necessarily having them in my house or integrating them with the other action figures I was playing with at the time. We did live in Spain for a few years, so it's possible I picked these up on a visit to my grandparents while we lived in Spain, and they just stayed there rather than going home on the plane with me. These 2 were ones that I always kind of thought, oh, I'd like to have back in the collection. I think they're super cool action figures. These are complete. They've got the glow-in-the-dark brains, all their weapons. Their limbs are a little bit loose. And I saw them at a show, and they were there by a vendor, and one of my favorite toy stores to visit is D&E Collectibles in Sharpsburg, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. They often give really great deals, very friendly folk. And so they had these along with these other 2 Micronaut alien action figures. Kronos, the only one who for some reason isn't sort of named after what they look like. So looking kind of like a praying mantis, you'd think this would be like Mantisaurus or something. But Kronos and Centaurus, some of the more difficult to find of the Micronauts lines. These were later releases. I never had these as a kid. To be honest, I didn't even really know they existed until recent years. But when I saw all 4 of them together, I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to get most of the 6 that were made. And to be perfectly honest, I was waited till the end of the day to try and get a bundle deal on them. I got a really good deal off of the guys at D&E Collectibles. Got them to a point where like I was relatively comfortable paying, and I'm being a little cagey because I don't actually remember how much I paid for them. And then as I was looking at them, finally, I took them out of the cases that they were in. And you'll notice the Centaurus here is missing 1 hoof, which for me is not a deal breaker, but I kind of mentioned it in passing to the guy who had already offered me a pretty sweet deal on those. And he knocked, I think, like an extra 50 off because Centaurus wasn't complete. So I got these for what I considered to be a really great deal. There are 2 others in this set. One I knew about, Membros, was released along the same time as Antron and Repto here. Also one that's not super hard to find, comparatively speaking. I whiffed it big time at ZoloCon. I saw a Membros in somebody's display case. It was complete except for the hose that Membros has was broken, which again is not a huge deal to me. And it was only $40, and that is well within the range of what I would pay for one of the guys to complete the set. I saw it. I was doing a lap around the room. I left it there. I went back. There's a lot of Mego stuff at ZoloCon, and so I saw somebody else with some of the Mego aliens and asked a little bit about their pricing, and it was through the roof. So I was like, I should double back and go pick up that Membros. And by the time I got there, it was gone already. So unfortunately, my ability to get the 5th of 6th in my collection, I beefed it by being an absolute amateur at a toy show and not buying something that was a good deal when I saw it. Like, it wasn't like it was, oh, it was $60. It's kind of like, maybe I want to pay that much, maybe I don't. 40 was definitely within my price range. Who knows if I could have even got it down to 35 or 30. Didn't even ask and just, you know, kind of walked away from it. So that was a dumb move on my part. And so now I'm still too short. The other guy in this set is called Lobros. Looks kind of like a lobster. Much more expensive, was released in the same time as Centaurus and Kronos, who I was just playing with. So those guys, Lobros, I don't know if I'll ever get in my collection. I do have a cap on what I'm willing to pay for stuff, even stuff that I want. And I don't have an emotional attachment to Lobros. I'd just be getting it to complete this line. But I have a little like kind of science fiction-y shelf of random toys in my display. So these guys fit really well in with that. And again, because I had Reptos and Antron as a kid, I was definitely excited to get some of them back into the collection. And as you know, with Micronauts, so, you know, Antron here has a little peg in the back. I don't want to do it because I don't want to risk breaking anything, but I'm pretty sure I could take these wings off of, well, look at that. I just took them right out, and I'm pretty sure they would fit right in to Antron's back, so then he can become a flying ant. Similarly, I'm pretty sure that the weapons, especially for these two guys, can interchange. So you could take it off of the plug-in hands on one and switch them out with the other. Again, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to risk breaking anything. But one of the cool features of Micronauts toys was that sort of interchangeability. So I was excited to get some of these back in my collection and add some more to my collection. Shout out again to D&E Collectibles, who does a great job of working with the customers. And in their store in Sharpsburg, at least last time I was there, none of the display cases are locked, which I really appreciate. I mean, they're very clear that they have cameras and they will be trying to catch you if you steal, but I like the kind of sense that they trust their customers enough, and it allows you to look at stuff without having to ask for permission. So that's my Mego's Micronauts Aliens. The other thing I'm going to talk about today is what's in this package here. So I won this from a heritage auction site. It is, I don't know if I'd call it a Marvel Grail item, but it's certainly a very rare item. So it might rise to Grail status for some folks. And important for my purchase of this was, as a kid, I mentioned I lived in Spain when I was in 1st through 3rd grade and would watch a lot of TV when we came to the States to visit my grandparents. I still remember Station 11 in New York City, WPIX. This is back before cable. Just both showing a lot of reruns. It's one of the reasons I have such an affinity for Welcome Back, Kotter, but it's also where some of my cartoon watching came from. And including at that time, they ran a lot of the Marvel superheroes cartoons. So even though these cartoons came out in the 1960s, well before I was born, they were being rerun at the time in New York City, WPIX, or at least that's what I remember it being. Maybe somebody's going to correct me that that's not what it was called, or it was actually on a different station, but I remember WPIX more than the other stations. So I got, at this heritage auction, a cardboard sleeve. Just kidding. There's something in here. So I've always had a real affinity for the Marvel superheroes cartoons from the 1960s. Folks will remember the Captain America theme song, "When Captain America Throws His Mighty Shield." The really badly animated ones where it was like just kind of a still figure would move across the field of vision. But, you know, again, that was some of my early introduction to Marvel characters, and so they were a big deal for me as I was growing up. And so, you know, not a lot of merchandise was necessarily made back then, but this particular item was also not for the general public. So this was a promotional item related to these cartoons. I have not opened this, as you can tell, so hence, you know, calling this an unboxing video. So hopefully it's in here and looks like I think it's going to look like. Heritage Auction does a great job packaging their stuff up. I never worry about paper items or other, you know, potentially breakable items getting damaged in transit. So what I bought, and it is going to be a little unremarkable probably for a lot of folks, and it doesn't display all that well, and I'll have a question for you all about that in a moment, but is the window sticker. Actually displays pretty nicely in the light here, or with the light behind it. So this was designed to peel off. So if I kind of block it a little bit more, you can see that it's actually kind of like a brownish paper that covers it. So the sticky part is on the front here. This would have peeled off and been put in the window of like a TV station to advertise the Marvel Superheroes TV series. So you can see there Captain America, Namor the Submariner, Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor. I love everything about this. And again, you can sort of see it in the back. What's interesting in how I'm looking at this, and I'm not sure how you'll see it on screen, because I'm seeing this in mirror reflection. Right now, I'm actually seeing this with the words correctly displayed, but if you look at them dead on, they're backwards. So again, I'm not sure what you're going to see because I know I have a mirror display on for myself. I'm pretty sure you'll see this backwards. You know, the 7 of you who watch this video. But this is super cool to me. I know it might not seem super cool to other folks, and I'm a little torn about how to display it. I am excited by the fact that with some light behind it, it displays a little bit better. So I may find sort of a clear glass frame and then hang it in a place where there's some light behind it. The other option I briefly considered, and you know, if anybody wants to respond in the comments to this, I did consider briefly the idea of actually taking it to a professional framing place and having them peel the sticker off and place it on the glass of a frame so that it actually would display the way it would look in a window. My biggest fear about that would be if that frame ever broke, the sticker would be useless. Whereas if I keep it with this brown paper on it, it's not as visible, but it is certainly not going to get damaged. You know, if the frame never gets broken, it's great because it'll be there forever and would look really cool. But that little chance that it might break really makes me nervous. So if you have thoughts about that, feel free to share them in the comments. Otherwise, that's just a quick update. So some stuff I bought at a toy show, waited till the end of the show to get a better deal. Something that fit with that I should have bought. And as a side note, there was another item at that toy show that I waited to buy. It was a custom Mego of the Vision, custom Mego 8-inch figure. I'm not a big fan of those, despite the fact that you would think they were right in my wheelhouse. But this one was really nice looking. And again, I went back towards the end of the show, or the end of my time at the show, to buy it. Literally had it in my hand while the dealer was working out a deal with another customer. And then they were looking around for it and then saw me with it and said, I'm sorry, that was part of the deal we just made. I just sold this. So I literally had to hand it back over to them. I was not as heartbroken about that though, because I was kind of on the fence about it. But the Membros at a good price was kind of a bummer. So those are my Mego Micronauts Aliens, my Marvel Superheroes TV window sticker. And I'm sure there's more stuff to come. I'm hoping to go to the Great Ohio Toy Show at the end of this month. And hopefully I'll find some other cool stuff there. Until then, you can find Welcome Back Comics this weekend at AwesomeCon here in DC, selling comics and collectibles. We will be at the Dominion Toy Show in April in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and at a bunch of shows over the summer. Check us out at Facebook, Welcome Back Comics, and you'll find us there.